Okay, so we're going to take a look at a video that's been shared around in all the usual haunts within, let's call it the Truth Network, for want of a better word. A lot of people who call themselves freedom fighters and stuff been bragging about it, thinking it's a success and a victory. So we're going to take a look at that, unpack it, see what's really there to see that may be getting missed by those who get excited about these kind of things, and really see, well, let's just put it this way. There's a few things there that if you're not really seeing principle, you're going to miss it, and the critical knowledge is going to be missed of what's really on display here versus to how it's being presented. So let's not waste any time and let's get started on that video. Okay, so this individual's quite well known within some circles within the freedom movement. I think he charges a certain amount of money, somewhere around $100 a throw, to go to his courses. Seems to do quite well out of it, selling what he's calling freedom. And so we're going to look into just what freedom looks like, and let's go unpack it. So let's have a listen. Well, freedom looks like the way that you're going to learn from, how he's showing you.
I should have got before I done that when I wasn't out of breath, fellas. Not too comfortable giving out my details to the council guys for a few reasons, one of which my name's held under copyright agreement. So without my written express consent.
So you happy to give it to me, mate? If we step over there, you said you got some ID somewhere?
All right, so this goes flat for a little while, so I just need to fast forward a bit. You heard him say that his name's held under copyright agreement. Some people think that's a wonderful thing. We're going to take a look at that later as how wonderful that really is.
And it's what all international commerce is governed by, these uniform commercial codes, which I filed my copyright notice of my name with. So to attain the written consent for that, there's an administrative process that you've got to follow.
So there you go, he's already starting to tout some things that he's got the word law after the end of it. So it gives you the impression that these things are laws. And we're going to take a look at what he really means when he says that a little later, but let's just listen. He's going to list a whole bunch of things that have got to do with what would seem like it's genuine and authentic. So let's listen.
To have access to that paperwork and my identification, I'm happy to give you the process, guys, and talk us through how we do that. Otherwise, we're both in breach of trust and equity law.
So there's another thing that he said that's got law behind at the end of it. So there'll be a few more of those.
No, I said I had them.
No, you said you were going to give them to me.
No, I said I had them, mate, and I needed to discuss the administrative process of attaining those with you, which I'm happy to do.
Well, not for us. We're the most...
There's an administrative process to attain someone's information, especially when it's someone like myself who spent a lot of time and money on copywriting my name.
There you go. So this is what a free man does. They spend time and money copywriting their name. Think about that, right? Just have a proper think about that.
And creating an irrevocable power of attorney deed over myself and my estate. Now, I'm assuming neither you guys or the council have a power of attorney deed over me or my estate or my name, which I hold the copyright to. I've got my copyright stuff with me. I'm happy to show it to you guys as well.
So then he's talked about a deed right there as well. More freedoms to talk, right? That's what a free man does.
Okay?
Share this, guys. Share.
He's also fine standing here. We're all fine standing up.
I'll come stand with you. So, do you want me to run you through the administrative process to access my details? Because that administrative process is recognised in international law, guys.
Nobody's asked you to be here.
So we're just going to go in a bit of arguments and we're going to fast forward this.
Alright, well, I'm sure you guys say this to a lot of people too. Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. I'm attempting to inform you guys of trust and equity law and international laws you'll be in breach of for attaining my information without going through the appropriate administrative process.
Senior Constable Bruce McDonald from the Southport Police, okay?
Yep.
Okay, I'll now require you to state your full and correct name and your date of birth. Okay, if you fail to comply with it, you committed an offence. Do you understand that?
So they're going to do their legalese thing, right, of how they cover themselves and how they get to initiate violence if you don't comply with them. So, on one level, he's had some success, right? You'll see that they don't actually go ahead with it.
I comprehend what you're saying, mate. I don't absolutely agree with that, though, because...
You don't have to agree with it.
Right, so what law is in breach of then for me saying I'm happy to comply and giving me details, but you need to go through the administrative process?
I'm not going through any administrative process.
We don't have...
So he's just saying I don't have to deal with this administrative process, right? They have no idea what the hell is going on here, right? So for them, this is all gobbledygook, right? But, you know, it's a success. I'll just let you know, it's success in one sense, but we're going to look at the big picture here as to what's really been achieved.
Okay, you're committing an offence, okay?
Your name, you haven't given it to us under Section 17, now we can step in.
Section 17 of what?
PPRA.
Of the Police Powers and Responsibilities Act,
Yes.
2006. All right, so just...
So now they're quoting more legalese stuff, right? Legislation is another version of the legal system, and they're claiming that's now something that actually matters in real life. Right? They're playing this fantasy game, and they're both engaging it.
Just to clarify, before we go any further, fellas, I've informed you of the administrative process required to retain my personal information. Ignorance is no excuse, mate. You guys must say this to people all the time. Right. Also, you guys don't have a power of attorney over me or my estate to compel me to do any of this. And there's no contract between me and you or me and the Queensland Police Service. So I'm just curious where these obligations you're telling me I'm under are coming from.
We've already told you where they came from.
They're coming from the Police Powers and Responsibilities Act, which pertains specifically to a person, correct? Right, so...
You would be a person.
With a beard like this, mate, clearly I'm a man. All right, we agree that with a beard like... Hang on. With a beard like this, can we agree that I'm a man? I'm happy. I'll give you my details via my copyright notice, and you guys can get my deeds off there. I'll grab it for you. It's in my bag.
Okay, cool.
All right. And you'll be in breach of copyright notice because I'm not consenting and I'm only doing this under duress. Well, I'll be putting in a claim.
Yeah, you can put in the claim.
All right, that's fine. Just to make you guys aware, there's $1 million fee for breach of copyright notice. If you guys are both happy to accept the liability there, I'm happy to get you my copyright details. There'll be a claim being put through, but I'm going to need your full details as well.
I'll get a
I need to know who I'm making the claim with because you're breaching the copyright notice, which is recognised in international trust and law. You guys don't have the authority to go above that. I'll grab you my paperwork so you can see.
Okay, where is it?
It's in my bag. I'll grab it for you. It's my copyright notice and my filing that I've done under Uniform Commercial Codes.
So now he's about to go grab his freedom documents, right? So check it out, guys. You're going to be like, wow, this is what freedom looks like. I can't wait to join in. Bear in mind, everywhere he goes, this is what he takes with him. Imagine that kind of life, right? Just keep thinking about that.
Okay, guys, so
Right, Melissa. First of all, I'd also like to inform you too that the Queensland Police Powers and Responsibilities Act is state law. Yep, now as you guys operating on behalf of Queensland Police, yep, you guys have an ABN and or an ACN. Now, just to inform you, that is Commonwealth Public Official Certification, which has been hit by a public notary who also happens to be a barrister for the High Court of Australia.
All right, just take note of that, right? A public notary who happens to be a barrister for the High Court of Australia. So right there, he's working in the legal system. Anyone who knows anything about the legal system knows that this is a racket created by criminals to give themselves absolute power. And I'm going to show you another explanation of that shortly. But now he's claiming that his freedom is dependent upon somebody else who works in a fictitious system, putting a stamp and a notary seal and a bunch of all this written gobbledygook, right? Now that's how his freedom is actually established. You got to think about that. That's really, really critical to think about that, right? And he's got folders full of this stuff.
Yeah, just to let you know, I've got a sworn oath under the Oaths Act of 1867
Now he's got a sworn oath under the Oaths Act of 1867, right? An act. What is an act? Some pantomime done by a bunch of criminals in Parliament. So now he's using the very system that enslaves him to now prove that he's a free man. There's no men in that system if you want to talk about like actual sovereign beings. It's all a bunch of criminals who create a bunch of rules that actually helps them get out of their own rules, right? And so that's what he's trying to use now. He's trying to become one of their club members without being a club member.
Report crimes to the judiciary as they do. Now, in accordance with High Court rulings and cases, large as the Queensland Rail case on the 8th of April 2015, because you guys have an ABN, you actually can't use, in accordance with High Court rulings, state law, because you're registered to the Commonwealth with your ABN. And the High Court made a ruling on that. So if you two are claiming authority above High Court rulings, fantastic. These guys are all filming. We'll have a record of that claim. And I can assure you that is a legitimate document, or I wouldn't have got a barrister to sign it for me.
So now he's claiming the legal system is legitimate. Really start thinking about that, guys, because what's the legal system for, right? And this is how he's claiming freedom, by using criminal structures. Like, how is that freedom? Really start thinking about that.
You'll see my name as a copyright sign after it there, fellas. That's for a good reason, because it's held under copyright. Now, you wanted me other information? Red pill or the blue pill? Yeah, the red one's always better.
This is ridiculous for a bit of fire rally.
Right, so this is an affidavit that has been filed and currently unrebutted. Are you two aware of what happens with an unrebutted affidavit? An unrebutted affidavit stands in truth and becomes fact in law. This is yet to be rebutted.
Right. You're taking his word for
Because
it.
the unrebutted affidavit actually identifies me as a living, breathing man of flesh and blood and not that of a person. A real human. Now, if you guys can't show me somewhere in the Police Powers Responsibilities Act where it pertains specifically to a man or a living man of flesh and blood, I'm not a person. A person is a creature of statute. The statutes did not create me. Now, my affidavit should all been duly witnessed and signed off with the Postmaster General and a Commonwealth seal as well. You guys are familiar with how the Commonwealth seal works?
I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Right, for it to be lawful, it must be done under Commonwealth seal, not the corporate seal with the kangaroo and the emu. Must have the appropriate seal with the lion and the unicorn for it to apply on Commonwealth land. Now, you guys aren't operating under a Commonwealth seal, are you? You're operating under a private seal, which the High Court have made rulings of precedence to say you can't do on Commonwealth land. Again, 8th of April, High Court of Australia, 2015, Queensland Rail. That was a massive, massive case.
So again, he's using the legal system to now stand as some form of honour, right? Is that an honourable thing to do? We're going to take a look at that soon, but just drawing your attention to things that are going to be looked at later.
So this is my copyright notice. This is also being filed under Uniform Commercial Code agreements, which is recognised internationally as to why I filed it there. Now, in this copyright notice, it states that any variations of my name, as the all capitals, lowercase, the man, the house of, however it's written, is held under a copyright agreement. In here, if you guys want to have a read, is all the information outlining why and how there's $1 million breach for breaching that copyright notice. Now, along with that copyright notice, just a few pages, you're welcome to have a read, fellas. Also, there's a private security agreement in place as well, which is also being filed with my collateral. Now, all of my ID has been listed as collateral under that security agreement. There also happens to be a private agreement done in the same way, which is also filed in international trust law, along with the Uniform Commercial Code. I've also then gone and done what's referred to as a hold harmless indemnity agreement. Now, this holds me harmless against any claims made against the name, because the name's under copyright, which I control. This here is the UCC financial filing statements and the amendments made, which is what has been filed in Washington, because that's where these sort of records are all kept and filed, as they're recognised internationally under the Uniform Commercial Code laws. And this is all my information there, and printouts of the filings that I've done for all of that. Of course, my proof of receipt of paying for it when all this was done as well. So, I've informed you guys of all of this, and the unrebutted affidavit, which has all been filed properly with the relevant government departments, both here and internationally, outlining my position as a man and not a person. Now, until such time as this is rebutted, I can't accept a claim that I'm a person. Now, if you guys can prove I'm a person, and you have some evidence or facts to back that claim, I'm all ears. Or would you like to go through my affidavit and rebut it point for point for us? Right, so what do we do from here now? I've informed you of my lawful standing and what I'm identifying as a living man. You've got my details on here. I'm happy to have you read through this and do that, but I've informed you now of the ramifications of what occurs when trying to do commerce with me, such as issuing a fine. It's a commercial transaction.
Yeah.
You need to have the written consent to do so in accordance with all this paperwork. Now, just before we...
You're under no threat, officers.
Take a breath.
Okay, so the police have been given all this information from the common law man.
There you go. It's called the common law man, right? He's using commercial rules. How has he got anything to do with common law? This is what people have come to believe is common law, where it's using an illegitimate criminal system to try and win your freedom by their standards. You see what their standards are? All these convoluted things. That's what freedom means if you believe this is the way to it. Now you think about how realistic that is to live like that. Is that what you really want to fight for? Because that means that structure that created this entire fiction still stays in place. Now you're going to see he gets treated like a hero really soon. All right. And this is the best people know. This is the actual scary part.
And the police have just stepped aside to have a chat. I think they're going to be thinking about what they're going to do.
Anyone notice that mask? That was pretty out there. It looks like something, you know, people who like to get involved in rituals wear.
Their next step. So there's a lot of people here in support.
I've got some other paperwork here for you guys. That's got my name on it with the copyright. If you want to have a read, my details are on there. You can have that one. I've got spare copies, guys. Have a copy, fellas. All right. Yeah, that's for you. I carry spares for just such occasions. All right. That there is a notice of prohibition in terms of engagement, which also includes my fee schedule for the act of engaging with my services. So just so you know, we're all filming and recording. You've formally been served and now on notice. My details are on there. And if you wish to continue engaging with my services, the fees will be applicable. And let me know if you wish to continue, guys.
Okay, so there you have it. That took about 13 minutes, guys. As you can see, that was a fairly long, drawn-out process.
So there you have it, guys. The Gold Coast.
So that's what freedom looks like. Is that the way you want to win your freedom, right? Have a look at that. That was like 13 minutes of real effort, pulling out all this intricate stuff that's got nothing to do with anything that exists in reality. Now we're going to unpack what all that gobbledygook that he was talking about is. I'm going to show you what all that is. All right, here we go. So everything he was listing, I didn't get all of it down. I couldn't remember all of it, but I made as many as I could think of. That's what's called codified law, and I'm going to show you what that is in a second. So here's some of the things he mentioned. Copyright, I didn't spell that correctly. I think that's RIGHT. Uniform Commercial Code, International Law, the Police Powers and Responsibilities Act, irrevocable power of attorney, an affidavit. These are all legalized things that don't actually exist in reality. It's all just a mental construct. He used the public notary. The High Court of Australia also mentioned the Postmaster General. These are all just job titles of all fictions that exist in the legal system. Right. He spoke about a hold harmless indemnity statement, the UCC filing statement, notice of prohibition, terms of engagement. Right. So these are all things that are mental constructs, right, that criminals invent to protect themselves from criminal behavior and what they do. And so he's found out a way to try and work his way in and use their systems that they created for themselves, right? And now this is what freedom is to use illegitimate systems. Systems got nothing to do with us living free. And look, he's now bound to these two big folders everywhere he goes. That's what's called freedom, right? And look how exhausting that was to do that. Could you imagine doing that every single time you have any engagement? Right, so just bear that in mind. Now I'm going to show you a written definition of what codified law is. So this is what he's given his time, energy, and labor. You know, he said it cost me a lot of time and money to get all this stuff. He's given his time and energy to this. Codified law serves as a mental construct concealing the concentration of power reserved exclusively for the self-elected ruling class to wield arbitrary, random, indiscriminate violent force to subjugate the masses with impunity. That's what he's gone and invested his time and energy into. The intended purpose of codified law is to present a facade that resembles the discoverable principles of law, such as predictability, impartiality, equity, and due process, as a protection racket for absolute power. So that's what he's protecting by using it, right? The only limit to the racket is the point at which the people call out the lie and assert their rights. So he's not asserting his rights. He's using this codified law to try and leverage some kind of, some kind of, I'm really struggling for the word here, like some kind of space, you know, between him being pounced on and being forced down to the ground and, you know, like made into an example. Like that's the best that all those folders are going to get for him. And he probably won't get an actual fine in that moment. Look how exhausting it is and how much time, energy. If you were to ask him how much he spent on all that, geez, I don't think you'd want the answer. Okay, so now I'm going to have Larkin go and explain exactly what the legal system is invented for. Any written version of law, right, what its purpose is, he's going to articulate it beautifully, which is a version of what I've just showed you. Okay, here we go. This is Larkin really beautifully explaining the entire legal system, what it's truly about. And you saw him quote a barrister, the High Court. You heard him quote that over and over again. Like there's some kind of real validity behind this. Now, this is actually what he's supporting, right?
The whole legal system and all their written crap, the entire purpose of the written system of law is not what you were taught in school. The entire purpose of the written system of law is to pretend to the subject class that it's actually knowable and applies to everybody and that there are principles involved and that it's predictable and there's fairness and there's due process. No, there's a whole bunch of legalese noise to hide the fact that they do whatever the hell they want. And the only limitation is at what point the people will actually resist.
So there you have it, guys. That's the true nature of why they created it. It's so you do not resist. So you believe there's some kind of remedy in there for you. And so he now shows people that there's some remedy in that system, as opposed to that it's a massive racket. It's a big front. And that's what people are missing. They're missing the point to tear down the entire deception, right? While you give people a remedy within a criminal system, you are supporting it. And that's what he's giving you as a version of freedom, and people celebrate that guy and they pay him for it. That's the even bigger tragedy. So they're paying for their enslavement and he's making money out of your enslavement. That's basically what people think he is. And all that cheering at the end, that all just comes down to them believing he's their gladiator, because he now has this capacity to do this superhuman thing that all these others have no idea how he did that, right? It's too bamboozling for them. So now he's like their champion, right? And he's come against the centurions. Or which as Mark Passio calls it, the house slaves, right? There's police, because that's all they are, is other versions of slaves. So he's had a duel with them and he's come out on top, right? So we're going to have a look at the scenario that's very similar to this. Most people are not going to draw this connection, but I am. I'm going to draw a big long bow here and we'll see how many people actually connect with it. So I'll be right back with that. All right, here we go. Most people recognize this movie, very famous. So I want you to think about the parallels here, who's shouting for him, but who gets the final say as to what happens to the guy's life, right? Who's the gladiator? Let's see what happens. And then where does he end up when it's all over, when all the adulation's gone? there you're having it, guys. You're being shown how it is to be a slave. No matter what you do, someone else is always in charge of your destiny. Just by the move of a thumb. See all those swords that are ready, right? He's got his house slaves ready to do his bidding for him, right? The order following centurions. No different to the police, right? They just need to get the thumbs up, the thumbs down from their master, and they'll do whatever their master says. So who's going to tear that system down while he's using that structure? How's that going to disappear? What's the real goal here? All right, that's what gets missed in all of this. People are just looking for their immediate temporary relief without understanding what they're really supporting. And then when all the adulation's over, let's see what happens. Where does he end up? There he is, he's having his moment in the sun, right? That's what happened before. Everyone went, yeah, I was so proud of you. Look at this, you beat the bad cops, yada, yada, yeah? So where is he now? Does he look like he's going back to a place where he's free? Have a look at this. So what structural change happened in that event? Nothing. No difference. You know, you have your little moment in the sun, everyone cheers and that, but you're straight back into the cage. Now I'm going to show you the difference of when you use the truth and see if it takes 13 minutes and see what the outcome is, right? And whether there was any of these folders or anything like that involved. All right, let's have a look at the contrast, shall we?
Identify yourself.
Police station.
So that's
exactly right. What's your name, sir?
What's your name?
And you're a sovereign citizen, sir, are you?
So you're making accusations, are you?
No, I'm not making accusations. I'm here to serve some court documents.
So let me just, let's just see if you're standing on your oath of office of constable today.
Pardon me?
Are you standing on your oath of office of constable?
Which is what?
You don't know what that is? Are you a public servant?
Of course I'm a public servant.
Okay, so a public servant needs to stand under the oath of office of constable. Is that you? Are you standing on your oath of office of constable?
I am, yes.
You are? Perfect. Let's see. We're about to find out.
Happy
Here we
days.
go.
Happy
Here we
days.
go. Where are you going? Stay here.
I'm not here to answer any of your questions.
No, you're not going to answer it. You're actually going to be on camera.
Well, sir,
Walking away,
thank you.
walking away, proving you're not an office, a holder of constable, that you're actually a private corporate
Citizen, sir.
policy enforcement agent.
We'll get these served by the courts.
I must caution you where I stand under Article 6. Where are you going?
So there you have it, guys. It's right there in front of your face. I'll just wind it up so you can actually have an image so you're not looking at the black. There you are. Did he go through this whole fictional world? No. All he did is he just spoke the truth about the true nature of the correct setup that they know that they need to be under, and they panicked and ran. It was that simple. There was no audience, right? No fanfare. No one watching. Didn't do it to be a hero. Just did it because he understands principle. And that's all anyone needs to do. And the whole system crumbles. But these guys aren't going to do that because there's no money in it for them if they do. Because you can't sell the truth. The truth is discoverable. You cannot sell knowledge that's freedom, because freedom belongs to all of us. So those people are not selling you that. They are selling you how to live like a good slave and be beholden to that system. And there's money in it. So it's a commercial business. And you even said it, right? That is charging them. Everything's about a transaction, right? There's no freedom if you believe yourself to be a transactional being. So there's your evidence, guys, of how quick that took. It didn't take 30 minutes. There's no paperwork. There's none of this big folder, none of that. He was coming to serve fake court documents. Why didn't he serve them? How often does that ever happen? They run away from doing that that process serve a duty. They will always get into some interaction with you, like what happened then. No, they just ran off. That's the power of the truth, guys. It's up to you whether you actually want to learn from that. It's video post 84 if you want to see the actual written description of why he ran away. So it's all explained to you in a written description while it's rolling. I think it's on Soundbite Uni also in the YouTube channel. I think something about domestic terrorists run from the law. I think that's the title, something like that. You can find it on both channels. It's all there for you to witness. It's about a minute long. That's all it took. Right. So there you have it, guys. It's just for you to decide where true freedom lies, which one tears down the structure and which one keeps it up. Right. And then it's at your choice of what you want to support.